I think we're making progress. There's more to be done, no question, and we're looking forward to doing that work.
Montana's U.S. attorney aiming to put an end to a crisis on the Crow Reservation, plus feeling the pain.
The worry about, am I hurting somebody? I'm not trained in this necessarily.
A Billings physician is speaking about a St. Vincent clinic closure that could have ripple effects not only on patients, but doctors. And bomb scares. The man suspected of creating explosive devices and placing them on Billings roadways is now behind bars. We'll have details on his capture and the fears that caused the closure of a major highway. The MTN News starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. First tonight, drug rings on Montana's Indian reservations. This growing problem has the attention of Montana's U.S. attorney, who's taking action and making arrests. This as the problem of opioid abuse continues to grow nationwide. According to the CDC, over 75% of nearly 107,000 drug overdose deaths in 2021 involved an opioid. And from 2020 to 2021, opioid-involved death rates increased by over 15%. Tonight, our Kelsey Boggs takes a closer look at the coordinated effort to tackle the problem.
According to the 2023 Montana DPHHS opioid use fact sheet, the percentage of those aged 12 and older who report misusing opioid pain relievers is higher than the national average. In the U.S., it's at 3.4%. Here in Montana, 3.9%.
The people who are poisoning our communities know that and are preying on that.
It's a statewide epidemic.
It's so easy to get.
According to the Montana Department of Health and Human Services, opioid use is the primary driver of drug overdose deaths in the state of Montana. But it's a problem even more prevalent in the state's indigenous communities.
There's just so much of it, and there's too much demand.
On Tuesday, a Lodgegrass woman admitted to trafficking meth and fentanyl in a multi-state drug ring centered on the Crow Reservation. Just the most recent arrest for a crime that happens almost daily.
This was at multiple locations that we pursued late last summer, dedicated a lot of resources to it.
Montana's U.S. Attorney, Jesse Laslovich, is on a mission to combat the problem. He says one common denominator on the Crow Reservation is a group known as spear sighting.
We have a variety of those cases connected to spear sighting. It's not a business. It's a drug trafficking organization that we are attempting to bring down.
But criminal prosecution is just one part of the solution. The National Indian Board of Health is also taking aim at the problem, now giving away free boxes of naloxone, or Narcan, to tribes nationwide, thanks to money from a global opioid litigation settlement. Tribes are eligible to receive free boxes of the emergency opioid overdose medication each year for 10 years. And boxes will be shipped to a tribal pharmacy, Indian Health Services, or a recipient designated by the tribe.
It's quick and easy to use, and it's saving lives. We tell everybody it should be part of your first aid kit.
Jay Steichman is a prevention specialist at Riverstone Health in Billings, which also offers Narcan to anyone free of charge. It's a multi-pronged solution to a problem that impacts so many on a daily basis.
Give us a call. We'll get it to you for no cost.
I think we're making progress. Is there more to be done? No question, and we're looking forward to doing that work.
For more information on how to apply for the free naloxone, visit the full story on our website. In Billings, I'm Kelsey Boggs for MTN News.
We're learning new details about yesterday's massive search in the Heights that blocked off Highway 312 for 7 hours. Police say the multi-agency operation was to arrest a man suspected of placing explosive devices on major roads across the Billings area. 57-year-old James Coleman was arrested near the intersection of Main Street and Highway 312 around 2 in the afternoon. Police say Coleman placed a number of explosive devices on the roadways over the past several months. After arresting Coleman, several agencies executed a search warrant on his property. That search led to the closure of the highway and the detainment of 4 others. It's unclear if any other explosive devices were found on the property. Coleman is facing criminal endangerment and possession of explosives charges. Tonight, a Billings primary care provider is speaking out over the scheduled closure of the St. Vincent Pain Clinic. That center is one of its kind in Billings, offering treatment and medication to patients who suffer from chronic pain. But once it's shut its doors in January, thousands of patients will be forced to turn elsewhere for help. As our Haley Monaco explains, one doctor has concerns.
There are still many unanswered questions surrounding the recent announcement of the upcoming closure of the Billings Pain Center. But for the first time, we're hearing from a primary care provider who fears what the closure will mean.
It's scary. And we do have reservations about doing it.
The Billings Pain Center, the only pain clinic in our region, is set to close in January 2024 with no explanation. It's forcing patients to work with their primary care provider for guidance regarding pain management, something they're not necessarily trained for.
Pain management is a specialty that is just like any other specialty. We have cardiologists for people that have heart problems. We have pain management for people who have severe pain outside of what we can handle in primary care.
Dr. Cole Whitmoyer runs Flex Family Health Direct. The 3 providers at his clinic see many patients, but not nearly as many as a primary care provider at a hospital does. One of Whitmoyer's fears from the closure is simply not enough time to work with a patient.
We have 1,300 for 3 providers. A provider at St. V's or Billings Clinic has 2,000, 2,500 patients. You're managing a bunch of people with pain in there. I mean, you're having to see people so quickly.
According to the Billings Pain Center's website, they treat a variety of things from addiction and withdrawal, back and nerve pain to cancer-related pain.
There's a lot of people out there that need help and they need this management of their pain.
But in a statement on Monday, St. Vincent Healthcare, which manages the Billings Pain Center, says primary care providers are exactly who should be directing this kind of treatment, saying in part, "This change underscores our belief in the importance of a direct and integrated approach to pain management where the care journey is between the patient and their primary care provider." St. V's has declined to provide the total number of patients that will be impacted from the closure, but Billings Clinic alone has 1,500 patients utilizing the pain center services. Now, with the services short-lived, Whitmoyer is terrified of what it will mean not only for the patients but the providers.
300 to 400 physicians commit suicide every year. When you're thinking about prescribing a pain medicine and what might happen with that medicine, and if you're responsible for what happens with that, it is scary. You're just putting something on the shoulders of people that already have, huge weights on them. So,
in Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
Wyola School on the southern edge of the Crow Reservation will be back in session tomorrow after being closed for the last 3 days. The school was closed Monday for Indigenous Peoples Day, but remained closed yesterday and today with no reason given. It all stems from a conflict between parents and school staff that has brought law enforcement to the school several times. Parents claim teachers and administrators at the school have engaged in abusive conduct towards students, but the school says it's the parents that are out of line. The Montana Office of Public Instruction told MTN last week that the safety and security of students is always top priority. They say they have received secondhand accounts of issues in Wyola, but no formal complaint has been filed. Congress appears to be on the verge of electing a new Speaker of the House. Republican lawmakers have selected Louisiana's Steve Scalise to be their nominee. Scalise edged out Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan in a private vote among Republicans. Scalise will have to hit the ground running as the federal government is set to run out of money in 37 days. There's no word on when the House floor will hold the final vote. Montana Congressman Matt Rosendale said he originally voted for Jordan after he stood beside him in many of his battles. But with the majority of Republicans now voting for Scalise, Rosendale says he will support him when the vote comes to the floor. In a statement to MTN, Rosendale said, quote, "I've had the pleasure of working with Steve, and while we may disagree on certain things, I do believe Steve will be able to unite the conference." Montana's other representative, Ryan Zinke, and Wyoming's Harriet Hageman have not said which way they will vote.
Our weather right now, fairly quiet. However, rain and snow are coming our direction. Now at 4:30, I was showing you all the objects that I have in my car to prepare myself for the rainy and snowy weather. And if you look at it, you might think I have enough, but there's actually a few things that I didn't have in there. You can see the gas tank, all the warm weather clothing, the rain slicker, the umbrellas, the blanket, also the chargers. You have to make sure that you can charge your batteries, but there were some things that I didn't have that I went to the store and I bought. First of all, I picked up some windshield solution so you can make sure that you have a clean and ice-free windshield. Also, for traction, some kitty litter. This will work out well for you. You want to have some non-perishable snacks to keep in the car in case you get stuck so you have something to eat. Also, a first aid kit, simple one but effective. And also have a couple bottles of water. You don't want to keep these in the car because they're going to freeze during the winter, but have them available. Ed's going to tell you how much rain and snow we can expect coming up in a few minutes.
Montana's minimum wage will increase by 35 cents on January 1st. A 2006 voter-passed law ties Montana's minimum wage to inflation. The current minimum wage will go from $9.95 an hour to $10.30 an hour. The 35-cent an hour increase follows last year's 75-cent an hour increase, which was the largest in more than a decade. About 19,000 people in Montana, or just over 4% of the population, are paid the minimum wage. A change in a federal law is proving to be good news for school-based hunting education and archery programs. As we told you back in August, those programs were in danger of losing funding if a provision was not made. One section of last year's bipartisan Safer Communities Act prevented federal education dollars from being used to provide someone with a weapon or train them in using a weapon. Congress recently approved a House bill adding an exemption, saying the restriction did not apply to hunting education. Montana Senator John Tester sponsored the same legislation in the Senate, saying hunter safety courses have a proud tradition in Montana schools. In a post on social media, Senator Steve Daines said the Biden administration reversed the order. Still to come on the MTN 530 News here on Q2, more and more Montanans are looking for flood insurance. But as rates increase, they may soon be priced out. We'll look into that next. And playing above her height and the net, this week's Athlete of the Week looks to bring another state title to Huntley Project. We'll meet her in just a bit.